Okay, so welcome to the interview consultation session. This is just what we're going to cover, about 5 items: the research process, how to disclose your salary expectation, things to consider before considering an offer. Then I'm going to give you a sample answer. So that question you were asked, you will see how to answer it. And then I can take further questions to clarify on other things. So I believe that maybe after this session, at the end of the day, further opportunities, you will now know how to balance the expectations you have with what the organization can pay. So first things first, let's talk about the research. So for every role you want to take up, whether job, whether contract job, full-time job, right? You need to do some research, and the research is in two folds, right? So it's your own personal research, which is more like a self-reflection, and then the organization's research, research into the organization, right, which is more like an external research. So for you personally, you want to ask yourself, you want to find out the certifications and the certifications or accreditations that are needed to succeed in that role. Now, you want to ask, how does this relate to salary expectations? Well, the level of certifications or accreditation that you need for a particular role tells a lot about what the pay for that role would be, right? The lesser the demands in terms of accreditation and certifications, that's how, let's say, a bit lower in terms of the chain of payment to be. So the higher, so when you see what's it called now, a pay castle that is split out, and you're seeing some setting, for instance, people in the final, you see CFA or ICAD, right? It means, and that's how they too, they can't just walk into that job with some kind of pay. So you want to check what are the certificates and accreditations needed. It has a lot to speak about the fee that will be required for that role. Then the growth paths you foresee, right? So you want to check the growth paths you foresee for yourself, right? If the organization can help you achieve that growth path, that's one advantage. Then also you want to also look at how your growth path looks like. The pay equation, what pay would help you start up that process of growing into that path you want to go into, right? So let's say people in accounting and all those fields now, right? Their growth path starts maybe from finance assistant. Then you have to growing into becoming an accountant full time now. You need some certifications. You need to write some professional exams. Then see a remote, hybrid, and or on-site option. So you need to know this because transportation costs has a lot to now say with regards to your role you get. So if the distance is farther, right, you want to know that. So at the end of the day, your transport cost is going to enter that. So you want us to make some adjustments for yourself. So I think it's the remote and the distance, the 2 points all comes together. The cost of things within the organization, that area that the organization is located for is an on-site, right? So if the organization you're going to work for is somewhere in BI, and you want to put in perspective, you should buy something around there, let's say your lunch, right? You want to look at how much it costs to get a meal there, right? All these things, top of the head, you might not put them, but these are part of the things you need to check, right? Because they sure need to be paid about it. So the other things you want to research about the organization. What the organization size, the size of the organization tells a lot about the capacity. So if you're going into a company, say like Deloitte or PwC or Halliburton or AXA, right? The size of the organization tells what their capacity is like. You can't compare that to, let's say, you're going into an SME or a startup, right? You also consider that you get. So the industry also tells the what they will pay the social media manager in an oil and gas firm is different from what let's say the career consulting firm pay social media manager, right? Because the industry has different in capacity. So it also boils down. Then the years of operation, right? A company that's been operating for 10 years, okay, they've got to some growth level. You can't compare that to a company that's like 2 years, right? So you also want to make adjustments to demand because they are young, there's a level they can bear. So you don't also want to chase them away with your expectation, and you should know on time because we can see that they're young. So the requirements of that role. So within the organization, what are the things they will require you? What are the things that will determine your success or your failure for that role? Right. Then you also want to know what's the average pay of the company. You might want to ask, how can I know the average pay? You could use maybe Glassdoor if there are reviews from previous workers in that organization, from Glassdoor, pay scale. There are other sites you can check and get information about that. Then you could also ask, what the average pay for such a role is like, right? So those are the things. So how to disclose your salary expectation, right? You want to look at it in 2 tiers, right? I've covered the bits, organizational size. You want to consider the organization size, your experience level, because if you're at entry level, you can't score a fee that is meant for somebody in a senior level. So the average market pay really tells a lot. Like it has a lot to do with what you can demand. Then your certification level is similar to your experience level. Then the work-life industry. I already talked about transportation, average living cost, your research. So what are the things you found out from your research? Then another important thing is benefits. So aside the salary and the other benefits attached, right? You also want to consider that you get before coming up. So maybe you could make a demand and also fully open to know if there are other benefits attached to the role, like training, certifications, or HM plans, or pension plans. You get different companies that have all these benefits attached. So you want to know what this is. So here's the sample answer.
Okay.
So I just want to imagine I'm using the content row, right? So there's a sample answer you can give out for that. And then, so within that range, you give them that flexibility to pick, right? So give them that flexibility to pick, especially for the organizations you're going to work with, which is in VI or I don't know if it's VI, but I know it's in the island now. So I know this is what it looks like around that area for the room you mentioned.
When trying to find a good salary expectation, you calculate your cost of transportation. So is it
Yes, you
possible?
can.
Yeah. Is it possible in certain setting you give them an expected pay, like expected salary, and also give them a cost of your transportation differently?
Well, so it's possible, but I'm going to tell you what usually happens. So, most of the times, the salary, the salary contains both your transportation, right?
Yeah.
There are also scenarios where organizations can put an extra, they call it stipend, so salaries, transport stipend. So most organizations can put transport stipend of 4,000 or 5,000 per month, right? Aside your base salary. So they add it up together and it forms your package, right? So the same thing with, let's say, a social media role. You know, there are organizations that they could, your package for the social media role is including your data
Yeah.
allowance for that month. So they just put it all together. Let's say they are paying you 60K, just put it all together. You get, but then you within yourself, you know. So whether you spend up to the 20K at the end of the day, it's yours to decide. Whether you spend less than that, it's yours to decide. So they just know that it help you take up that. Then there's also a scenario. So other organizations, what they do is they provide staff buses or staff this thing, what's it called, transport support. You get, so that's another way organizations do it. But on a general note, right, you need to have an idea of what it's going to cost you in terms of transport, right? Because you don't want to end up the month spending all your earnings on the road. So you have to put that into consideration. So instead of separating them, I would advise you put everything into consideration before giving them back.
Okay, thank you. In cases where you're only judged by your skills and not necessarily a certification in certain, and what if in that case where you're not so sure if you've gotten to the, perhaps you're having this what's it called?
You're just starting out in that route. Is that
Yeah,
what you're trying to say?
You're good, right? You know deep down you're good, but you're not sure because you're trying to work with a big brand and you don't want to. So should you like put that amount, or should you like drop it down a little bit?
Okay, so you have to be careful with this process, right? So you understand that for every employer, they have perception, right? The whole thing is a game of perception. Yeah, even though it comes to the point of logic, but that first is perception, right? So if you're starting now, the perception they have as an organization is, are we really sure? Can this person prove themselves?
Yeah.
Right. So because a lot of organizations get burnt out, you bring in somebody who is fresh. I know a lot of people say give people opportunities, but a lot of organizations get burnt. You bring somebody who is fresh, not proven. Give them a month to try out. They are not giving you results. You give them second month, they're not giving you results, right? At the end of the day, you have to let them go after their probation, right? So, and even as you're letting them go, remember that the organization now has lost money at the end of the day and lost time. Time they would have probably used to groom somebody who would have fit in properly, but they don't use that. So you on your own, right? It's now two things. One, you don't want to shoot yourself in the leg, and at the same time, you don't want to chase them away. So it's always important to keep it open that you're open to improvements after maybe a probation. So something like you need to you would need to prove yourself and your demands, right? And you're willing to if maybe they are considering paying lower, you can tell them that you're willing to use that just to prove yourself. And when you do that in the next 2 or 3 months, right? If they can reconsider and give you back what you're asking for. Most times the organizations will take that because ideally probations are usually 90 days, 60 to 90 days. So the organizations will take that, test you out. Once they see that you're worth what you're asking for, they'll give it to you. So to answer your question, no, don't be scared. Don't just look for the average, what the average is, what the market is. There are different websites that do these things where people have reviewed, this is what, for instance, social media managers are paid in companies in Ikeja. So you also want to check your area because maybe what social media managers are working companies in the island is not the same thing with social media managers that work in the mainland. So you want to also check the area you're working for. For instance, what social media managers in Enugu are paying is different from what the ones in Port Harcourt are paying. So you want to also know not to bring it down to your area. So once you find what that average is, don't be scared. Tell them because they too, they know they have HR routines that have done the research. They know what the market value is like, and they will not have an issue giving to you. So they might only say, okay, because they are not sure, they want to test you, right? They'll give you something lower or offer something lower. If it's not too low for you, you can propose that you start with that, and when you prove yourself in the next 2 months, you get. If they can consider reparting back to what you asked for, that you really to take it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, so that is how you go about it. So, is that all?
Yes, that's all.
Okay, so I would like to advise, right? Because most times salary tends up to um, drag a lot of things and give people deprive people from opportunities that maybe could even benefit them more, right? So for the start, you should try to be flexible with whatever organization it is, especially because you're starting. For now, the experience matters. But so far, whatever they're offering can cover your basics, and you know maybe have to start using your own money to transport yourself to work, right? So far, they can carry you for that period. Give them 60 days of your time. Don't be too rigid about it. But if you've gotten that list of you have up to 2 years experience in that particular role, right? Yeah, you don't need to prove yourself to them. You've proven yourself to previous employers, so they need to give you what you are worth.
I have a question.
You have another question?
Yes. So what do you in scenarios where you're offered a job, a role you haven't done before, but then you have an insight of it, like you know you can do it, you have an insight of it, right? It's something you may have done somehow, somewhere, but have actually done it particularly, and you're new to the role, but you know how to work your way around this. How do you go around this salary expectation?
So for that kind of stuff, right? You just the thing you need to know is that you are you are an entry level, right?
Yeah.
You are an entry level. So there's no harm. Even entry level roles have salary expectations that also need to cater for you, even graduate training, even internships. So you have the idea. If you have the confidence and you have the hunger to learn that job and grow in it, right? Take up the job, look up for entry level salary for that role. You give them the entry level range, and that is what your fee will be. So don't think because you're just starting out, so you need to be so low. No, even for every role, entry level, there's always a starting fee. So go with that starting fee for the entry level role of what that role is. If it's admin assistant, if it's HR assistant, all of them, they have their entry level role, they have their starting fee. You work with that.
All right. Thank you.
So just use the entry level, the industry average for the entry level role that you want to take on. If it's product manager, for instance, right? What are product managers, right? And how much is an entry level product manager paid, right? So remember that I said this is just we talking about the salary. There are other benefits that come along with different offerings. So you also don't want to limit yourself to just the salary. If there are other benefits that come with the package, right? Of course, for your own benefits, you can consider them and see. Because there could be an organization that, let's say, pays you higher in terms of salary now, but they don't have, let's say, for instance, they don't have a health plan for you. So whenever you fall ill, you have to treat yourself, right? Now, you know that sometimes when you fall ill for just once or twice, the bills could be so high that sometimes it could eat up a huge chunk of that month's salary. So you can imagine, But now, if the organization you're working for had a plan, right, a health plan in check for you, that would just cushion that the effect of that, and it doesn't have to chop into your salary. So you find out that you might benefit more depending on how your body system is. For the maybe 4 or 5 times you could fall in the year, imagine how much it will cost you to treat yourself those 4 or 5 times in the year. You get with your own salary, you get. And then imagine if you now have an organization that is giving you something, maybe 10,000 or sometimes usually 20,000, 15,000, lesser than what the, or let's say 30, lesser than what is 40 or 50. However it is, but trust me, that 50,000 naira more with no health plan, you get. This other organization can even be giving you a better plan. Let's say, for instance, you have an organization paying you 200K and a health plan attached to it, and there's an organization offering you 250K. There's no health plan. At the end of the day, that organization that is offering you 200K with health plan is going to benefit you more. You get, if on the long run it will, because if you fall ill, say 2 or 3 times, and you get to spend more than that extra 50K like 5 times in a year or 4 times in a year, you find out that the other offer was better.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, all right. So do enjoy the rest of your day. Do well to recommend us, right? Please recommend our services to your friends. You have people who are trying to clear their heads about their interview process. Also let them reach out to us.